Hi, welcome back to another video. Happy New Year. It's January 2025. Just something a little bit different today. If you're thinking about buying a motorhome in 2025, then this might be of interest to you. I'm going to give you a tour of the van shortly, but just a quick sort of summary of what we did when we were thinking about buying a motorhome. Let's go back to those distant days of 2019. So back to that innocent time, 2019. I was working overseas, we were working and living overseas, and we decided that we were going to be coming back the following year, and that we were now going to at least think about, if not commit to, buying a motorhome. We'd done a couple of motorhome trips to New Zealand in sort of the mid-2010s, early mid-2010s. We did one trip around the North Island in a van conversion, and then a trip to the South Island a couple of years later in a much more conventional motorhome, which was more practical for that trip because the weather was a little bit more unpredictable. Buying a motorhome, it's a big commitment, it's a big financial commitment. If you get it wrong, you're not going to enjoy your motorhome experience. And I was acutely aware of that, so I started doing my research in 2019. I started watching a lot of YouTube videos, and also going through all the manufacturers' websites, sort of trying to get an idea of what sort of van that we might like. And I'd pretty much decided that I wanted something about 7 meters long, no more than 7 meters long, and I'd sort of come down in favour of the Adria Compact. Then of course the following year the world went mad for a year or so. We came back in October of 2020, and then of course we went back into blooming lockdown all over again. So we couldn't start looking until April 2021, because by then, because of the C word madness, there was no stock. You know, manufacturers hadn't been working, suppliers weren't supplying the equipment. There was just, every dealer that we went to, there was just no stock, and I wasn't going to buy something that wasn't right if it just because it was all that was available. So we got a bit sort of disheartened, and then we finished up at Loudham's in Huddersfield, sadly no longer there. They had no or barely any new stock, but they did have, surprisingly, quite a few second-hand vans there. So we were looking at the second-hand vans. We looked at this one and did like it, really did like it. Went home to have a think about it, and decided that, you know, it ticked almost all the boxes. Would be daft not to, because who knows when you're going to get that opportunity. Rang back the next day, and somebody had already been to look at it that morning, and they were going back to have a think about it. So we pounced and became the owners of this 2019 Swift Vesica 597 High Style. I wanted something at 7 meters. It turns out this one is just over 8 meters, so it's bigger than I wanted. But that extra length does give us some extra comfort. It did give us that good lounge space. It gave us a decent kitchen area. We had the nice fridge. We wanted the huge garage, so that sort of drew us to that, the U-shaped bed formation. We'd looked at French beds, but you're missing a big corner of your bed with the French bed, and then sort of clambering over. The island bed, well, they didn't look as if they had that much space to sort of shuffle around, so that's why we finished up with the U-shaped one. We thought about rear lounge. Do we want a rear lounge? Rear lounges do look comfortable, but I don't want to be making up my bed every night. So there's the rear lounge, but with the bed above the cab. And we stayed in. We had one of those on that second trip to New Zealand, and didn't enjoy the experience at all. It felt like waking up in a coffin. So this sort of combination of a decent sized lounge, the rear bedroom layout and the U-shaped bedroom layout seemed to be the one for us to go for. A couple that had sold it because they wanted something that they could take their grandkids away in, which, when you're thinking about a van, is what you're actually wanting to use it for, because this one, despite being 8 meters long, it only has 2 travel seats, as in the 2 seats in the cab, so you can't take anybody with you. So overall, really happy with the purchase. We've learnt the hard way in some of our earlier trips that I didn't film, just as we're getting used to things that yeah, don't use the van to be pulling around and looking at things. Get to your campsite, park up, leave it, and then either walk, cycle, bus, train, taxi to wherever you're going. As a van, to park up on site and to be comfortable and to be warm, it is absolutely brilliant. So I guess the takeaways are budget, obviously, layout, and just have a think about what you want to use the van for. If you're wanting to do lots of touring in it, going into sort of towns and car parks, that kind of thing, you might need something smaller. But if you want to be comfortable, then I would certainly be an exponent of the larger van. So let's have a tour of the van. So this is it, our Swift Vesica 597 high style. It is not looking at its best. The weather has been dreadful, the roads are dreadful, so it is looking a bit grubby, but that's nothing that can't be fixed once the weather improves. It's based on a Fiat Ducato. We got the alloys included, and we also added a bike rack on the back, which is also filthy, and it also came with the rear view camera. Just give you a quick tour externally. We've got the gas locker here, although we opted for LPG because there was an availability problem with gas bottles at the time, and there's a petrol station right next to the storage yard that does do LPG, so we thought that would be more practical, more convenient, and it also frees up quite a bit of space in there, not having 2 bottles in. External gas point and external plug. The gas point is very useful for the Kadak when the weather allows. Toilet set in there, and an external shower that we've never used. One of the things that we wanted was storage, and so we have a huge garage. It is in a bit of a mess. Every time I organise it, whatever I need is then at the bottom, so I finish up reorganising it again, and it is due for another reorganise. But in there we've got 2 fold-up bikes, outdoor furniture, an awning, Wastemaster, aqua roll, all sorts of stuff in there. There is loads of room. Water point here with the little 12-volt plug, which is useful for filling up on site with the aqua roll. Dry store with not a lot in it. Useful cupboard here, just for sort of general mechanical cleaning bits and pieces. And then the garage does go full width of the vehicle. So as you can see, my not very organised garage. Got the waste master in place. I do get into the habit of dumping off the tank each morning. Right, let's have a look inside. Starting at the front, like I said, it's based on Fiat Ducato, which I find really good to drive. In my previous work, I've driven plenty of Fiat Ducato based vehicles, and it, you know, I don't have any issues with it. Got the mobile phone and the TomTom. It's actually the TomTom Camper, which is quite a bit more expensive than a regular sat nav, but it does allow you to put the dimensions of your vehicle in, and should hopefully not send you down any narrow lanes or low bridges. Captain's chairs swinging round, a bit of storage above each seat. Opens and closes along with fly screen. Moving from the cab into the lounge, it is a good size. That's the benefit maybe of having a longer vehicle. A couple of bench type seats there which are comfy. We've just put some covers on to protect the upholstery. The captain's chairs spin round so you can stretch out on there. TV is a regular TV on this bracket, lots of wires unfortunately. We did initially have a 12 volt TV, but then switched it for this one, which is a little bit bigger, because it turns out we weren't actually spending that much time off grid. We were mainly going to campsites, so we thought it might be nice to have a slightly larger TV in the lounge. It is a smart TV, but we do use an Amazon Fire Stick, just personal choice. I find I think the navigation's better with a Fire Stick, and I think the picture quality is better. And to go with the Fire Stick, we have Wi-Fi through a dongle or whatever they're called. Lots of wires in that corner. It's a bit scruffy, don't like loads of wires, but you know, you need chargers and one thing or another. When it comes to the table, we haven't sort of quite decided yet, even after a couple of years, what the best solution is. In a way, it's good not to have a fixed table, and that you've got plenty of space if you're not actually needing the table, because as you will see, the table that we've got that comes with the van is quite large. It does completely dominate the space. It's not too bad when I'm here using the van for work, because plenty of room to spread out laptops, notebooks, all that kind of thing. But I think we'd like a slightly smaller solution, with it just being the two of us. So if anybody does have any good recommendations, please drop them in the comments below. Moving on to the kitchen. Not a bad amount of space in the kitchen. We'd always want more, and it does get, it can get quite crowded, but we do tend to keep meals quite simple, or as simple as we can. There is this drop down extension, Bluetooth speaker, kettle, and the air fryer. How did we manage before air fryers? And so we're big fans of the air fryer, and the thing about this van is this electric plate, electric hob. So 3 gas rings, but 1 electric plate. So it's generally because we're on hookup most of the time, we've got access to that. Between the electric plate, the air fryer and the microwave, that pretty much covers all our needs, and the Kadak in the summer, weather permitting. Oven has never been used. We've never used the oven, and then there is a little pan store underneath there. There's a nice large fridge. Very little in it because it's getting to the end of my stay, and then another storage cupboard up here. So separating the two halves of the van is this door, which is great because it gives, you know, privacy to the back. We don't need to put one of those windscreen covers round, and it just does nicely sort of separate the van. We have put this mirror on, partly to just sort of reflect a bit of light back into the front part of the van. Shower cubicle, perfectly functioning shower. The water is piping hot, so no issues with the shower. And then across from the shower is the toilet, wash basin, and a cupboard there, with a door to that shuts across. There's a wardrobe here. I say wardrobe, that is where the table is stored, and there are a couple of shelves down below. There are wardrobes under each bed. I did get these lights, but it was a bit of a pay cheap, pay twice. They're supposed to recharge, but after a while the charge just does not last, so I'm going to replace those with some battery ones. So if you're thinking about layouts, this is what the sort of the twin U-shaped bed layout looks like. There is another section that can be put in here, but we find that it just gives a bit of extra space, and it makes climbing up into bed that little bit easier. There's also another storage box under there. Plug at the end with USBs, but there's no additional storage in the bedroom like there is in some vans. This was the 12-volt TV that was originally in the lounge, but we've moved it into here, and again we've got the Fire Stick option on that one. For bedding, we went for the duvet option, which sort of folds out, and it's sort of all in one. It's sort of like a sort of a semi sleeping bag. Well, that's it. That's the tour of our Swift 597. I hope you found it useful if you are thinking about buying a motorhome, and some of the things that we thought about, you know, maybe if they've crossed your mind. I hope you found it useful. If you have, please give it a like, drop us a comment, and maybe even think about subscribing to the channel. We have more trips planned already for 2025. So thanks for watching, take care, see you on the next video.